All right. Today I had a really powerful conversation with the one and only Justin J, and it was very, very enlightening, and it was a great conversation. I'll share more about that after our coaching call tomorrow. Anyway, it's good to have mentors, even if you provide a service and serve people in the capacity that I do. So if you're out there and you're a YouTuber and you're putting out content that improves the lives of the people, it's good to get that feedback, honest, unabashed, unapologetic clarity, and truth. So anyway, today we're going to talk about how you match up with what you want in life. And I put this video out before, and it was very good when I put it out. The thing is, I was sick and I was getting over some things, so I want to put it out again, and I want to give it that rested, healthier flair. So in this video, we're going to talk about why God favors the chosen and how God favors chosen people, people that have responded to the call, people who have chosen to walk their path in life and to match up with the things they want in life. We always get what we put out, and that's not an obvious thing to a lot of people. A lot of people might think, well, if I put good things out, good things are going to come to me. And they misunderstand and misjudge what a good thing is. So today we're going to talk about that. By the end of today's video, you're going to understand how to match what you want in life and how to be a mismatch to what you don't want in life. If you don't match what you want in life, you will not accumulate those experiences, those things, and those people in your life. So if this is something that you find very powerful and useful, make sure you drop a like, comment below, but only share this with people that it's for. If this is for you, it is for you. You'll know it. And let's get right into it. So I've gotten this question from a lot of people who are atheist preachers. You know, they want to give you that example of the innocent child who contracts cancer or some terrible disease, right? And they say, well, if there was a good and loving and just God, then this would never happen. And again, this comes from a false premise, and the faulty premise is that um, the child is innocent, there's a faulty premise that, let me put it this way, there's a faulty premise that the person asking the question actually knows what innocence is, knows what good is, knows what God is. Got a lot of activity happening now. All right, all right. Ia Plays says hello. All right, so in this video, we're talking about, why does God torment good people? Again, there's a question, why do bad things happen to good people? Well, in the Bible, in Galatians 6, verse 7, it says, be not deceived, for God is not mocked. Whatever a man sows, that's what he's going to reap. So whatever you put out, you're going to get back. All right. We got a lot of activity here. Renee, hello and welcome. Bible Drizzy, or BBL Drizzy. I thought that was Bible. I think BBL means something else in the internet world. So hello to you. Thank you for joining. Um, uh, Aya. Okay. Ia Plays. Aya. Okay. I'll call you Aya. Thank you. All right. And then Dar says, I purchased a Glock. Okay. Anyway. Yeah, I got to make sure I read it before I read it. We don't care, Dar. All right. So, why do bad things happen to good people? Well, the Bible already makes it very clear. God is not blinded by the good actions and the good works we put out in the world. God sees what actually is going on. Humans have decided that certain actions are good or bad. They've decided that being nice to people is good and being caustic with people is bad, or being mean to people is bad. But God sees the heart. God sees what's really going on under the surface. So life is a matter of matchup. The fruits that you get from life are a result of the seeds that you've planted. Now, you may experience some challenging times. That may be a matter of purging, purging yourself of patterns and things that don't serve you. Contrary to popular belief, okay, the things that we encounter in life are not necessarily a cause and effect thing. Like you go and do something, you just get something in return. It's a matter of alignment mixed with cause and effect. So it's not that certain things like diseases or poverty or bad relationships come from that can only be avoided because you are doing the right things or you're acting in the right way. That's not how it works in life. All of these are results of deeper effects, deeper alignments, deeper matches. Okay, so by the end of today's video, you understand the 5 ways that you can match up with what you want in life by mastering life in such a way that you match what you want and you mismatch what you don't want. So think of the following things, that the five following things, as forms of currency, ways that you buy experiences, relationships, things in life, the real things in life. And think about it from the least powerful form of currency to the most powerful. This is going to get really interesting, so make sure you stay tuned. All right. Okay, BBL Drizzy says, I thought it was Bible part. I'm just going to say BBL. Okay, sorry. Says, he allows sexism, which makes me mad. Again, humans have a faulty premise. You know, they think that the laws of society and the laws of the land precede the laws of God. And so they think that, well, humans have said sexism is bad. And then God's supposed to comply with that. God's supposed to go, oh, you're right. Yeah, you're right. You're right. I was wrong. Sexism is bad. God doesn't care. God does not care. If God cared, sexism wouldn't exist. If God was like, sexism shouldn't exist, then there would be no concept of sexism. We wouldn't even think about it. Okay? So the fact that God allows these things means that God has a better understanding of the world he created. And people misunderstand that. And then they get upset and frustrated and hurt because bad things happen in the world. And they're not bad things. They're just things. They're things that exist. And if you want to have the good things in life, the pleasant, desirable things in life, then you match up with those. It's that simple. God doesn't make it complicated. God doesn't make it hard. God makes it very easy. That's why Jesus said, seek ye first the kingdom of heaven and his righteousness, all these things will be added unto you. Be like children. Look at the animals. They figured it out. They come into this world, they know that there are certain things they want, there's certain things they desire, and they just go for that. They don't, they just, when you were a kid, when you wanted something, did you think about the absence of it more, or did you try to align more with the presence of it? Well, if you were an intelligent kid, you aligned more with the presence of it, and you got those things. If you were an unintelligent kid, you cried and whipped and screamed and jumped around and all that stuff, and your parents allowed you to do that because they were the same way. So keep that in mind. So let's go through the 5 things that are actually going to give you power and allow you to match up with what you want. The first way to match up with what you want and get what you want is through actions and deeds. Consider this the penny level of power. You're not going to get a lot done doing this, but it'll help you. Like I said, this is penny buying power just by what you do. So if you work really hard, you'll eventually get a bunch of money. Well, not a bunch of money. You'll get some money. Okay. All right. This is penny buying power. Like if you want to buy a house, you can buy it with a couple of truckloads of pennies. But that's energy exhaustive. It's a very inefficient way of buying a house. It's a terrible way of buying a house. But you can do it. You can go get 18 truckloads, fill them with pennies, and then go to the bank and say, hey, look, here's my, $500,000 to $2 million worth of pennies, whatever kind of house you want to buy, right? Actions are physical, they're energy intensive, they're a waste of time, really, honestly. Struggle based, okay? They're not going to lead you to really powerful results. The results from physical actions come through a very inefficient process. Like I said, if you're going to buy a house, you could buy it with pennies, but that's very inefficient. So, but actions do have some impact. Deeds do have some impact, okay? What you do, how you act does have an impact. It's just a very tiny impact, okay? Let's move on to number 2. The second way you can master your life and match what you want, get what you want with more ease, or just period, is through expectations. Now, your actions are a result of what you expect from the world. So if you go to a store and you have coins in your pocket and you want to get, or you have money in your pocket and you want to get some apples, you expect that the money in your pocket is going to be a sufficient exchange for the apples in the store, the fruit in the store. And so that's your expectation. So when you get to the cash register, you're not just going to stare at the cash register or the attendant. You're going to reach in your pocket. That's the action. You're going to hand them the cash, right? Because of your expectation. You didn't have to think about it so much. And that's where the second level of power in matching up what you want in life comes from. When you have expectations, they determine your actions, and your actions will automatically happen when you have certain expectations. If someone walks up to you and raises their hand with the intent to hit your face, you're expecting to be hit by this person based on their action, and your actions immediately are going to flinch or to get into a fighting stance, right? So expectations automatically cause your actions to happen. You don't have to work hard. You don't have to try. You don't have to think too hard about it. Again, this is much more powerful than doing the right thing. When you do the right thing, it's not as effective as when you come from a level of expectation. Expectation, if actions are the penny level of power, expectations are the $10 level of power. So if you have $10 bills, you don't need 18 truckloads to buy a house. You need like 2 van loads or something like that, a van load or something, right? So it's more energy efficient. It's much more, um, it's more efficient, and it helps to lead to automatic actions, which leads to better results. So your life, if you are shaping your expectations in a certain way, it's going to lead to certain experience, thoughts, and beliefs, okay, which is the next level of power. You can change your expectations through affirmation, through repeating certain things to yourself, um, but it's still a struggle. It's still harder than the next level of power that we're going to talk about next. If this is something that serves you, make sure you drop a like, okay? So the next level, the third level of power that really changes things, that allows you to move through life more easily, have more peace and flow and joy and power, is thought and belief. Now think of a thought and a belief like $100 bill. Now if your actions are pennies, your expectations are $10 bills, then your thoughts and beliefs are $100 bills. These are Benjamins. Now, you can go with a briefcase of Benjamins, basically, and buy a house, $500,000 to a $2 million house. A briefcase, I think you can fit like $1 million in there, $2 million with $100 bills. Okay, you can do that. Now, thoughts and beliefs, what are they? Thoughts and beliefs exist within reality. I'm gonna spend some time on this one. Thoughts and beliefs are not in your brain. Okay, that's a neurological fallacy. It's not true. There are no thoughts hidden in your brain. Okay, thoughts exist within the ether of time and space. All thoughts have existed from the beginning of time until the end of time, and thoughts mate with each other and create new thoughts. It's a very interesting thing. But thoughts, think of them as electromagnetic frequencies. They just exist. They're like particles within in the ether. But thoughts are the most refined version of results and physical things. So the idea of a house existed before houses existed. And the first person to build a house just matched up with that pattern of thought long enough until the idea of a house came to mind, and they built a house. Same with cars, same with AI, same with anything. Everything that exists in life and in reality comes from thought, ultimately. And thought is the substrate of reality. It's almost like God in a way, because it is the underpinning of everything that exists. So thoughts and beliefs are very powerful. And if your thoughts and beliefs are matching certain things that you want in life, automatically those things are going to match up with you, and you're going to have them with your life. So if you have thoughts about yourself as a lovable, acceptable, beautiful person, the experiences, the people, the things that match those thoughts are going to automatically show up in your life. You're not going to have to work for them. Your actions and expectations will automatically unfold from the thought and belief that you're a lovable, beautiful, attractive, wonderful person. Okay? So matching thoughts give you certain lifestyles, lead to actions, expectations, and results. It's not something that you have to try at. It's like when you know yourself to be healthy and beautiful and sexy and all of that, you automatically do the things that align with that. You don't have to work at it. There are a lot of people that lie on the internet and say, "Oh, I get it, I try so hard, I work so hard." They're selling a dream. That's not true. If you, after about 30 to 60 days, your brain is going to automatically tell you to do things. You're not going to really think about it. You're just going to, and if you don't do this, let's say, for instance, like for me, I work out every single day. I go to the gym every single day. If I do not go to the gym one time a day, if I go one day without it, when I got sick, I did 1 or 2 days without it. My body and brain just feel awful. And there's this weird energy that I feel. It's like something is like pinging me like this all day long. It's a terrible feeling. So think about the person who's morbidly obese. and they eat donuts all the time, and they sit around and watch Jeopardy or TV shows or whatever, Netflix, right? That's their pattern. And so there are thoughts that align with that pattern, that match that pattern. There are actions that match that pattern that lead to them being morbidly obese. Being morbidly obese is a job. It requires effort, especially if you're a thin, fit person like myself. It would take so much work for me to get there. I would have to work, I would have to struggle, because the thoughts I maintain, the beliefs I have about myself and about the world don't allow me to follow through with expectations and then actions that match a morbidly obese life. Same on the reverse side. Let's say like I'm working to gain more muscle mass and to become a certain type of body type, which I like my body type, a great body type, but I want to improve on it. So that means that I have to incorporate thoughts and beliefs that the person who has that body type has, so that I can have that body type, right? Me working as I am, or as I was, I'll say in the past, and I'm getting there, but as I was in the past, it would be torture. It would be torture. And that's not the best way to create things in life. Okay. So thoughts and beliefs are like Benjamins when it comes to buying a house. In our house buying analogy, they're much stronger than the $10 bill expectations. They're stronger than the penny actions and deeds. All right. Your brain is a receiver and transmitter of thoughts. Again, like I said, thoughts just exist within the ether of space. They're not in your brain. They just don't exist there. All your brain does, it's basically a quantum computer, like literally a quantum computer. It's a gelatinous quantum computer. And all it does is it has the ability to process, receive, and transmit information. And information just exists. It just exists. The reality in which we live is a structure that is electromagnetic in its core, at its basis. And the higher you go in complexity of life, the more electromagnetic power is behind that. Your body produces trillions and trillions and trillions of volts of electricity because of each cell puts out a certain amount of voltage. But you can't harness it. You can't harness it like, like you would see in some of the power lines that you see above your head. So anyway, I'm getting a little bit into weeds here. Okay. So anyway, thoughts and beliefs are like Benjamins. They're very powerful, and they can really lead to powerful results in life. So thoughts based on lack or scarcity lead to not just poverty, because there are billionaires who have thoughts of lack and scarcity. It also leads to poor health. It also leads to terrible relationships. It also leads to disconnection with God. So don't think that, I need to get rid of all my lack and limitation thoughts before I can become wealthy. I've known too many people who are millionaires or whatever. I don't think I know any billionaires. I knew some people who knew billionaires, but I know multiple millionaires, and they still have lack and poverty thoughts. The thing is, they have a belief about themselves that allows them to match up with lots of things, but they may still have lack and poverty thoughts that translates into poor relationships, poor health, and other things. So don't think that it's a one for one, tit for tat. God isn't like that. God is much more complex. All right. Rich people can transmit and receive lack and limitation as well, and you'll see it all over. You see it all over. So if you think that you got to become something before you become rich, that's not true. It doesn't work that way. All right. Like I said, I knew people that had houses all over the country, and it literally all over the world. They were still, I don't have enough time. That's a lack thought. Okay. And they were constantly stressed out. So if you want to be a millionaire and have that lifestyle, good on you. I don't want that. And I also know people that are very wealthy that just travel and enjoy their lives and don't worry about that. Like, money to them is nothing. And I love hanging out with those people, because it teaches me that when I see money, not to go, just to go, oh, hey, okay. There's plenty of it out there. It exists. There's tons of it. It can just flow my way if I wanted to, if I align with that expectation and then that belief. And the next one, number 4, like I said, number 4, the more higher power uh, in matching up with the things that you want in life is emotions. Now, we talked about actions. Actions, you can work yourself to the bone. The hardest working people in the world are the poorest people in the world. Don't get it twisted. Don't listen to, again, there's a lot of bullshit on the internet with these people talking about, I worked so hard and I got strong and rich and blah, 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 blah. No. Because if you were, okay, so the hardest working people in like Congo, digging up ores in the earth, burning their hands on nuclear reactive materials or whatever, they're working 1,000 times harder than you, and they have $0 a year. So hard work obviously is not how you get there, but it does move the needle if the hard work and the action is put in the right place. Expectations are the next level. They make it a little stronger. With expectations, your actions automatically follow through, and then thoughts and beliefs lead to your expectations. And they're a lot stronger. They are what help you to match up with expectations. All right. So next is power. You have to alter how your emotions happen. So think of emotions. Now, we talked about expectations being like a Benjamin, $100 bill. Then emotions are a rack of Benjamins, like stacks, racks. You know, the people are rappers. They talk about those things, the raps and stacks. Anyway, it's a stack of hundreds that's wrapped in a piece of paper that lets you know how much is there. Okay, uh, a rack. I'm gonna use rack because that's the one that I can recognize. Emotions are like a rack of Benjamins, okay, or a rack of Benjamins. Okay, so this is like a $10,000 to $100,000 stack of Benjamins, right? Emotions are really powerful. It's a feminine thing, and then when I say feminine, I'm not talking about females, You know, I'm not talking about humans with the female anatomy. I'm actually speaking of the water principle. Feminine flow, feminine things. It's talking about the movement of energy, the movement of that electromagnetic field that I was talking about when we are talking about thoughts. Thoughts are more static. They're like bubbles of energy within reality that you tap into based on how you see yourself and how you expect things. Whereas emotions are the stream in which thoughts flow. And emotions are deep, they're feminine, they're cosmic, they are actually the powerhouse behind reality, and they shape everything. And so think about animals and children are great at communicating with emotion. So if you watch, I do this a lot because I'm in nature all the time. I'm working out in the forest, dealing with animals, deer, whatever. Sometimes mountain lions. I don't see them, but I know they see me and I can sense them. But animals are always paying attention to emotions. And emotions are just thoughts that are, like I said, it's really the river in which thoughts exist. Thoughts are more masculine in a sense because they're more solid, but emotions are more fluid. And so think of emotions um, like the river in which thoughts swim. And so animals pay attention as children pay attention. So if you notice, like, you get near to an owner, and if the owner really likes you and admires you and feels like you're safe, the dog will be chill with you. But if you get to an owner and they may be smiling, hi, buddy, but they are afraid of you and they don't like you, the dog will be, okay? So animals know what emotions they're picking up on the emotions, and emotions impact our bodily flow. They impact our bloodstream, our hormones. They impact all of that. And emotions come directly from like mind, and mind again is not in your brain. Mind is above that. Mind is beyond that. Mind is the thing that projects itself through your body, and a lot of people call it personality. Okay, so emotions are the unseen mover. They control your thoughts and beliefs. They lead to your expectations, which determine your actions and deeds. Emotions control perception of reality. This is the crux right here. This is the key right here. Emotions control your perception of reality. So if I present a fruit before you and say, um, this is, oh, let me do a better one. I do cold ice shower, snow showers every day, a snow shower. Three, I sit in there for 60 seconds, okay? And so I love it. It's very invigorating. It's extremely good for your health. Now, if I was in a concentration camp or a prison and they put us in a snow shower every day as a form of torture, I might trick myself into thinking it was bad for me and get sick and die or something like that. Yeah, not like I'm gonna die, but you can get sick and then I'm dying. I gotta, right? But now, because there are all these studies out about how ice water and ice baths and cold plunges are really good for your health, they boost your testosterone. When I take it, I'm seeing it as a wonderful, amazing, invigorating experience. Now, 10 years ago, you couldn't get me close to any. I would wear jackets during the summer. That's how cold averse I was. But now I love it. I do the cold plunge. I used to do cold plunges for 16 minutes, sit in 50 or 40-degree water for 16 minutes. Not the best thing to do. You need to stay around 11 minutes. I learned that. But still, I could do that. And that's because my perception changed. And that was based on my emotions. When I thought about cold water as something valuable to me, my emotional response when I got into the cold water is very different. And so it just determined how my body responded. And this is very interesting because there's studies that come out and say coffee is really good for you and caffeine is great for you. And then everybody goes out and drinks a bunch of coffee and caffeine. Oh, I'm getting strong and healthy. And then another study comes out and says caffeine causes cancers and causes your balls to shrink. And then everybody's like, oh no, oh no. And they stop drinking it. Oh, you better stay away from that coffee. It's going to get. That's emotions. Emotions control perceptions of reality. And so there are things that you will do and put yourself through that are very beneficial to you, that may not feel very good. And that's because you know that emotionally it's going to lead to a positive outcome. So when you have certain emotions about things, it's going to match certain outcomes. Like I said, if you think of someone sends you a $250 bill and you go, oh my God, I'm going to pay this, right? That's showing what kind of person you are and what kind of reality you match up with. But when someone sends you a $10,000 bill and you go, I got it. Even if you have $0, life will find a way to match you up with the emotion of $10,000 bill, right? So emotions are going to really determine that. Like I said, animals and kids are good about picking up on emotions. When I'm out in the forest and I'm dealing with a dog that's just running around, or birds or squirrels or deer, perhaps some other type of animal, I have to have the emotions that an apex predator would have. An apex predator is going to be very comfortable in the forest. They're just going to have their head on a swivel, but they're always going to be like, I'm the top dog here. And when other apex predators see you and you have that emotion of I'm safe in a place that prey animals are not safe in, then the other predator is going to look at you and say, oh, wait, I'm dealing with something that is probably on my level. It's true of people. It's true of things. It's true of relationships. It's true of health. If you have an emotion around certain things, and it's going to cause those things to respond to you based on your perception of them. I hope that made sense. So feelings about money or relationships or health don't attract those things to you. They only make you a match to those things and visible to those things. Okay. So I just hope that made sense. All right, let me know in the comment section below if you want some more clarity around that. Because I could go really deep with emotions, but I'm trying to stay a little bit surface so it doesn't get too deep. So emotions control your perception of reality. When it controls your perception of reality, then you tend to respond to things in different ways. Okay? All right. And so finally, if you really want, this is the powerhouse of it all. This is, if you stay at this point, this is like where all the power is. The greatest power, this is like Bitcoin buying power. Like one Bitcoin, I think, is worth $100,000 right now. Just one Bitcoin. Now compare one coin Bitcoin. I know it's ethereal. It's data sets, or it's just ones and zeros on a computer. But compare one Bitcoin to one penny and look at the difference in buying power. So the difference between actions and identity is the difference between pennies and Bitcoin. Identity is something that doesn't really exist if you think about it. Like identity, like who is Bob? What is Bob? Who is that? Think about companies. What is AT&T? What is PG&E? What is YouTube? Oh, well, it's nothing. It's just an idea. It's an identity, but it controls reality. With YouTube, you can build a house. With YouTube, you can juice some fruits. With YouTube, you can learn some exercise routines that will change your body and change your life. YouTube is just an identity. You, Bob, Sarah, Johnny, BBL, whatever you are, you're just it's just a non-physical thing, but it controls reality. Identity is extremely powerful, right? Now, actions are useless mostly. I mean, they're like pennies. They're basically useless. Basically useless. Because if you have a poverty, lack, limitation, scarcity mentality, and you work yourself to the bone, you'll never be rich, even if you have millions of dollars. Why? There's a beautiful a quote that I heard. A man said, I'm not a rich man. I'm a poor man with a lot of money. There are people like that in the world. There are lots of people. I can tell you. I used to work with physicians that were so cheap and penny pinching and afraid because they grew up poor in friggin' India somewhere, and then they came here and now they're making 800,000 a year, and then they haven't computed it yet. They're still dealing with all these issues mentally, and so they're still poor, even if they have a lot of money. So identity is where the powerhouse is. This is the fifth level, the highest level of power, identity. It's the Bitcoin buying power in this analogy set. It is the highest level of power. It's the most powerful of all of these things. It is the I am in scripture. When you read in the Bible, the highest God of highs, the most high God says, Moses goes up, the story of Moses. He goes up on the mountain, he gets the Ten Commandments, and he says to God, he says, God, he's speaking to Elohim at this time. He says, Elohim, who should I say sent these Ten Commandments to the children of Israel? And Elohim responds, I am that I am. This is the beginning of the whole Yahweh experience. Yahweh is a Hebrew term that comes from the verb hava, which means to be, to become. It is the it is not, yeah, it's the verb to be, to become. Okay? I am the becoming of the becoming. I am the I am that is. I am that which is. So when God said, I am that I am, Esher, Achir, Esher, or something like that, he was basically saying, I am identity itself. I am beingness itself. And when he gave the Ten Commandments, he was not giving the children of Israel 10 actions that they need to follow through to be good people. He was giving them 10 identifiers, 10 identifiers that would show that they were his children. The Ten Commandments are not God's rules. I know that it's called the commands, but they're not commands from God, unless you're a gummy worm. They are God saying, if you do these 10 things, that's because you're one of mine. That's because you're one of my chosen. And by the way, if you do these 10 things, he's not saying, go do these 10 things. He said, if you are doing these things, if you're my chosen, this is what God is saying. If you're my chosen, you're automatically going to honor your father and mother. You're automatically not going to covet your neighbor's wife. You're automatically not going to steal or lie or kill or cheat or do all these things. You're automatically only going to worship me, God, the only true God. Right? So when you see that, you understand that identity is where the real power is. How you see yourself determines what you feel, how you feel about life or your emotions. It's going to determine what you think and believe about reality in yourself or your thoughts and beliefs. It's going to determine your expectations, which is going to determine your actions. And if you work from the top down, there's so much more power than when you try to work from the bottom up. But you can still do it from the bottom up. It's just you're basically trying to climb an icy hill in snow slippers, or sorry, in sandals. Okay, you can do it, but it's going to be really unpleasant and hard. And so, if you change your identity, that is where the greatest power is. Moses said to God, "Who should I say sent him?" God said, "I come unto you." God basically said, "The God of your father has sent me unto you." This is Elohim talking. By the way, the word Elohim comes from the Proto-Phoenician word for forces. It's not the alien gods, the Anunnaki, and all that bullshit stuff. It's BS, bad science, bad spirituality. It's none of that. Elohim is actually the forces. It's a representation of the forces that run reality. Because if Elohim was the one God, the true God, whatever, then Jesus wouldn't have called you and I the Elohim, which we are, but right? Jesus wouldn't call us the Elohim. Elohim wouldn't have been used to describe certain kings in the Old Testament. Elohim wouldn't have been used to describe thrones and angels. Okay, so look up the term Elohim in the Bible and you see that it's used to describe angels, thrones, kings, uh, places are actually referred to as Elohim. So the word Elohim just means forces. It just means that which impacts and shapes reality. Okay, so Moses was talking to the forces of reality, and then identity stepped forward, or God, Yahweh, the eternal one, said, I am identity. I am identity. I am letting you know that if you desire something and if you want to be something, you want to have the life of the highest, the best, the chosen, the apex human life, then you have to identify yourself with that life. Okay? So, Yahweh was the power behind Elohim, and Elohim is the power behind reality. If you want to change your reality, you change your identity. And when you change your identity, you say, I am chosen. I am a child of the Most High God. I am the one who is deserving of these things that I'm seeking and desiring. Then your emotions about those things change. Now you feel a certain way about them. You don't feel as crunchy or afraid or worried about them. Then your thoughts and beliefs start to shift because now you've accepted the identity of a chosen child of the Most High God. And you say, well, I'm worthy of those things. Let's say it's health. You're sick right now. I'm worthy of health. You're not going to go and work really hard and try really hard. And you're also going to notice that when you change your identity, you say, I am the one who is worthy of the thing that I desire. And you actually embody that. God may tell you to change your name. Literally, legally. I did it. Saul to Paul. Yeshua ben Yosef to Jesus the Christ, Emmanuel. Okay, I told you guys I was going to answer that question. I did, finally. Sarai to Sarah. Abram to Abraham. Jacob to Israel. Okay? So God will change your name. And that means God will change your character. And you will find that, let's say you're overweight and you want to lose 50 pounds. Well, you're not going to feel comfortable lugging 50 pounds around anymore. It's just not going to work for you. And you're going to say to yourself automatically, man, you're going to get up and you're like, man, I just want to run. And you're going to be fidgeting all the time. You're going to do all the things that someone who doesn't have those 50 extra pounds is going to do. If you're a broke person or a person with limited resources financially, you're going to say, I really love having lots of money. It feels really good to go into a store and just buy things and never, ever look at the price tag. God, is a wonderful feeling. And then you're going to have that start to happen in your life. You're not going to blast all your money away if you have little money, but you're going to start to respond emotionally to bills and to financial challenges or things like that in a very different way, because you're going to come from the place of a person who has lots of money, power, and all those things. So the greatest power behind it all is identity. And if you can change your identity, you can change your life. So in conclusion, I'm Dr. MSai. In 2010, I had a mystical download. God sent me a message that shattered my reality, shattered who I thought I was. And in that process, 7 years later, I stepped into it. I've never looked back. And this space where God speaks to his chosen is a space that God has given me. And this place is not for gummy worms. It is for those who are ready to walk into the darkness and to face their own shadows and to know that God loves them, that God created that shadow. And God is using that to make this world a better place. We are here to rebuild heaven. We are not here to chase after it. If that is for you, welcome home. Thank you for watching. Stay Apex.